Hello everyone! I'm super excited about this video because today I'm going to share everything that I learned from the entire home purchasing experience. I'll talk about the things that you need to do, the people that you need to work with, and also the lessons that I learned from making my own mistakes. So this video is perfect for first-time home buyers and also aspiring homeowners who want to eventually own their own homes one day. Because there's a lot of things when it comes to buying a home that you just don't really know until you're in the midst of it. And knowledge is power. If I had the knowledge that I have today, I would have been able to save a few $1,000s for myself. So I want to pass on that learning to you guys so that you don't have to make the same mistakes as I did. And also this video is pretty specific to the Toronto and GTA area. And Toronto is kind of different from other cities in the world because it is one of the most unaffordable cities when it comes to home ownership. But still, I think there's a lot of things in this video that you can apply if you're buying in other cities. If you're watching this video, you're probably very aware of the benefits of home ownership, so I won't talk too much about that. And I'm not here to convince anyone why buying is better than renting or vice versa, but here are a few facts. In the next few years, Canada is going to get a lot more immigrants. With the influx of people, everybody's going to need a place to stay, whether they're buying or renting. And the new demand can definitely drive up the home prices as well. The interest rate right now is still pretty low, which makes it a great time to be borrowing money. So now if you're pretty convinced that you want to buy a home, the next step is to find out where the market is at and also do an assessment of your own financial situation. So to do a market scan is very easy. Just download the app called House Sigma. House Sigma will show you all the properties that are currently on the MLS. It will give you all the basic information such as the listing price, how much property tax you need to pay on it. And another thing that I really like about House Sigma is that it tells you what they think the price should be. So the reason is sometimes the seller will list a property for something that is a lot higher or a lot lower than what is the market price. Maybe they're trying to get a better price, or maybe they just want to get people's attention. So seeing the recommended price from House Sigma will give you a much better idea of what the actual value of the home is. So the next thing is to assess your own financial situation. You want to take a look at how much savings in total you have, how much money you are bringing in every month, and also how much you are spending every month. So this is where having a budget will be very, very helpful because you will have a clear picture of your financial situation. I'll talk more about how to save for a down payment later in the video. But at the moment in Toronto, if you're looking to buy a one-bedroom condo, it will be at least $400,000, and that's on the lower end of the spectrum. So let's say you want to buy a home for $400,000. You want to have something like 20% for down payment, and 20% on $400K will be $80,000 just for down payment alone, and that's not even including the closing cost. So that's a huge amount of money. And if you're a new grad or someone who is, recently out of school or just entered the job market, that is actually a lot of money to save up for. I actually don't know how you can do that unless you get some help from your parents. And also a lot of new grads will also carry a lot of student debt. So it's definitely a challenge. So 20% is really far-fetched given the prices of real estate right now. But you can also opt for paying less down payment. And the minimum that is allowed in Canada is 5% down. Now 5% on $400K is $20,000 for down payment, and that's a lot more realistic. It's actually doable now. Now the downside to have less down payment is that your cost of borrowing will go up, not just from the interest perspective, but also now you're obligated to buy something called a CMHC insurance, which is basically a mortgage default insurance. So let's take a look at the numbers to see exactly how much you're paying. So on a $400,000 home, if you want to buy for 5% down, then that means you need to borrow $380,000. But because you need to buy the CMHC insurance, on a $400K home, the insurance that you need to buy is around $15,000. So that insurance will be added to your mortgage. So now effectively your total borrowing is $395,000. It sounds like a lot of money, but spread it out over the span of 30 years, the insurance actually doesn't have a huge impact on your monthly payment. But of course, you want to do your own research and also run the numbers to see whether that monthly payment makes sense for you. Now, after you have a good idea of the type of home that's available and also what kind of home you want to live in, you want to start thinking about your mortgage and find out what your maximum affordability is. To get your mortgage, you can certainly go to a bank for that, but I highly recommend going with a mortgage broker because mortgage brokers will have access to a lot of different lenders. That includes banks, but also includes other type of financial institution that specializes in mortgage, and they're able to get you the best deal. And also in certain cases, the bank might not want to lend to you, and the mortgage agent will be able to find other alternative lenders that are willing to work with you. For example, when I was buying my studio apartment in downtown, because the home is so small, it's less than 500 square feet, the major banks actually don't want to lend to me because a studio apartment is actually considered a unconventional home. So that's why I turned to a mortgage broker, and she was able to search through all her lenders and get a much better deal for me than if I were to go with a bank. Now, mortgage is probably the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to buying your home, because after you have looked around the homes that you're interested in, when you see your dream home and you put down an offer, you have around 10 days to do the home inspection and get your financing secured. And by the time the 10 days is up, unless you back out of the offer or ask for an extension, the home is basically yours. And if there is even a teeny tiny bit of problem with your mortgage or with, securing financing, and for whatever reason you're not able to buy it, you will lose your deposit, which is typically 5% of the home, which can be, at least 20, 30, 40, 50, I don't know, depending on the home price, right? So it's really a lot of money. And also you run the risk of getting sued by the seller because you would have wasted their time, and also there's a lot of missed opportunities. So yeah, if there's even a little bit of problem with securing your mortgage, you can potentially lose a lot of money, and it's just not a pretty situation to be in. So that's why it is extremely important to work with a mortgage broker or mortgage agent that is really responsible, reliable, trustworthy, and also responsive. Working with mortgage agents actually doesn't cost you any money because the agent actually gets paid from the lender, so from the banks or whatever institution where they get a mortgage from. So it's really no cost to you, and you're getting a lot more service. So last year, I actually discovered this online mortgage brokerage called Breezeful. And Breezeful actually has access to over 30 lenders, and including all the major banks in Canada. So you can rest assured that they will be able to get you the best rate. And of course, Breezeful is free to use because they get paid from the lender, not from the home buyers. Because the entire home purchasing process can be very stressful, and sometimes you need an answer very quickly. You don't want to wait for days until your mortgage agent gets back to you. That waiting process is very stressful. I certainly experienced it when I was working with my mortgage agent, but Breezeful has a lot of their process automated so that they're able to free up their agents to deliver that valuable customer service that home buyers are looking for. So if you're interested or if you're in need of a mortgage agent, I'll link their website down below for you to check it out. Their entire application process is very simple, and you basically just answer a few questions, upload the necessary documents, and they will be able to give you an estimate of your maximum affordability. And then you will get a call from an actual mortgage agent to make sure that all the information is correct, and also to make sure that they understand your goals when it comes to purchasing a home. Now, the next step is to find a real estate agent that you trust. You might be wondering, do you absolutely need a real estate agent? For my first condo, I didn't use an agent, and that's because I was looking at pre-constructions. So for pre-constructions, I don't really need anyone to book appointments for me. I can just go to the showroom, take a look, get their floor plans, and make decisions that way. But if you are to buy pre-owned homes, you definitely need a licensed professional to book the appointments for you and also take you to the homes, because only licensed real estate agents can have access to the keys and lockboxes. Now, here is one of my expensive learnings. If I were to go back in time and choose again on whether or not to get an agent for my first condo, I would definitely get an agent. And the reason is because as a home buyer, you actually don't pay for the commission. It's the seller that pays both the buyer side and seller side commissions. So by hiring an agent, not only you get their great services, their experience, and also get someone to basically hold your hand through the process so that you don't make stupid mistakes, and you don't have to pay for anything. So yeah, definitely get an agent if you're buying your home. Now, some realtors will actually offer commission rebate, which means more cash for you upon closing. So this means not only you're getting someone to hold your hand through the process, your realtor might even share his or her commission with you. And in my case, when I was buying a condo, there were actually realtors who wanted to give me like $5,000 upon closing. But I didn't take up on that offer because I thought I needed to pay them. But actually, as home buyers, you don't need to pay commission. It's the seller that pays both the seller side and the buyer side commission. And if I worked with them, not only they will get paid, not from me, but I will also get paid. So that is one expensive mistake that I made, and I want to pass on this learning to anyone that might not know that information. So after you've seen around 20 to 30 homes, you probably will have a good idea of what kind of home you're looking for. And in this process, you want to create a to-do list so that you can stay organized and get ready for the things that are coming up. For example, what kind of documents you need to get ready for your mortgage, where to find a home inspector, and also when you need to get the deposit ready by. Another thing you want to do is to create a spreadsheet so that you can prepare for all the home purchasing expenses that will come up, such as a home inspector fee, lawyer fee, land transfer tax, etc. There are a lot of online calculators out there that will give you a good estimate, and your realtor will also be able to give you a ballpark idea of how much these things will cost. And you want to use a spreadsheet to keep track of all the expenses that will be coming up and factor them into your closing costs, and then combine that with how much you need to save for down payment is the final amount that you need to have in your bank account by the time you close. Now, time for the most mysterious topic, which is just how do you come up with that initial down payment? Now, this can definitely be tricky depending on what line of work you're doing. Number one, if you have a stable job, then that will be very favorable for you in the eyes of the lenders, because they love it when the borrower has a very stable income. So to fast track that saving for the initial down payment, here are a few things that I did. Number one is to live with your parents. I definitely lived with my parents for, I think, almost a year. And in that process, I didn't pay rent, I didn't buy groceries, I didn't pay them anything. All the income that I made from my job, I saved them toward my down payment. I remember at the time, I spent probably around $500 to $600 while I was living at home. And the only thing that I spent on was probably transportation and the necessities like my phone bill and things like that. So my parents were definitely very supportive in that process. They never asked me to pay for anything because they wanted to help me to reach my goal as well. So that's how I was able to fast track my savings. Now, I think number two is pretty specific to Canada. So in Canada, there is a thing called the First Time Home Buyers Plan. And basically what it does is it allows you to take your money from your registered retirement savings account and put it towards buying your first home. And whenever you buy RRSP, which just means putting your money toward the retirement savings account, it's actually going to offset your income. So when it comes to tax season, your income will be reduced by the amount of money you put into your RRSP, and you might get a tax refund because of that. And because I was saving so aggressively and I was putting all the money that I saved into my RRSP account, so when I was filing my taxes, I got almost $10,000 because of how much RRSP I was buying. I think I bought maybe $20,000 to $30,000 worth of RRSP. And now the second piece to that is that in Canada, there's also a first-time home buyers plan. And this is crucial to this piece because usually if you were to withdraw money from your RRSP, you actually have to pay tax on it because the money that you withdraw is going to count toward your income for that year. So you have to pay additional tax just because you're taking money out of the account. But because of the first-time home buyers plan, it allows you to withdraw as much as $35,000 from your RSP tax-free. So you're not paying anything to take money out of the account, and you're also able to get additional tax refund when you buy RSP. Okay, so hopefully at this point, this whole idea is pretty clear to you. But if not, in short, my recommendation is to, instead of using a regular savings account, put all your savings into your RRSP, because this is going to optimize your entire tax situation and potentially get you more money from the government. And this is totally legal. And when you withdraw the money from your RRSP to put it toward your down payment or closing costs, you can take that money out tax-free, so you don't have to pay any additional tax. And then another savings tip is to actually use a realtor. Like I mentioned before, sometimes the realtor will actually give you commission rebate, so they'll share the commission with you. Not every realtor do it, and also how much they're willing to share also vary from agent to agent. And also your realtor will be able to negotiate a much better price for you because they have a lot more knowledge about the market, what is worth it, what is not, to make sure that you're not paying anything more than what it's worth. Okay, so we're almost at the end. I'm not going to talk too much about the house hunting process or making an offer because these are all questions that your realtor will be able to answer. And lastly, you will also need to work with a lawyer. The role of the lawyer here is to, of course, finalize the transaction, making sure that everything is legal, doing like a title check on your property to make sure that it's not registered under another person's name. And then another one of their responsibility is to do the accounting. So they're going to calculate all the property tax, hydro bills to make sure that the seller is paying for the amount of time they have ownership of the properties. They're going to make sure that you as a home buyer are not paying the seller's outstanding hydro bills, property tax, and things like that. So yeah, you really only work with a lawyer until the later stages of this process. But you do want to work with someone who is very organized, who is very detail-oriented. I'm going to link the lawyer that I worked with down below because I had such a good experience with her. And I'm also going to link to realtors that I really trust. So if you're in the GTA area and are thinking of buying a home, you can definitely get in touch with them. One is actually my best friend's dad who helped me buy this townhouse, and I had such a great experience working with him. He is super responsive. He responds to all my questions within minutes and are always looking out for me. So it's really great to work with a professional. And then best of all, when you're the buyer, you don't actually pay for the realtor service. So yeah, if you're in the GTA area and are looking for someone who is reliable and responsive and experienced, I'll link their information down below and you can check them out. Okay, so that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer, but if not, other people might be able to answer your question as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!